Hello, David Lee Scales, and hello, dear listener. Welcome to episode 82 of Noble Rot. The date is, I think it's March 30th. March 30th. Guess how many days March has, David Lee Scales?
31. I know this. Do it on your fingers.
It does. It does. I did the knuckle trick before we started, and 31 days. So we're at the tail end here of March. How was your weekend?
It's just a bummer that it's past the longest day of the year now.
I know.
Only short days of the year ahead.
I mean, it's such a bummer. It's just a countdown till the winter solstice and the shortest day of the year. From here on out, it's a bummer.
It's such a bummer. No, but all is well. Everything's good. We had a nice weekend. Lots of time outdoors. Lots of time socializing. All good.
Has young Austin started his spring break yet?
Yeah, he's done with spring break. He had it, I think, the week before last. Yeah, he's already back.
Spring break is one of those wild ones where it's just like, it feels like both businesses and school districts and everyone closes their eyes and throws a dart. They put like March, April, pages of March and April up on a dartboard and just close their eyes and throw it. And they're like, oh, I guess we're taking spring break on April 20th this year. Like, there is no rhyme or reason. It feels like clearly, I think now people got the idea that, okay, it's got to be around Easter. But half of them, I think, front Easter and half of them back Easter.
The problem is Easter itself.
Moves.
Easter's a wily one. It's unpredictable.
Shifty. Like, I'm all down with the shiftiness of it, but I don't know how it's not, like, I'm down with the shiftiness of Easter. I just don't know how it is not been institutionalized. Like, okay, everybody, let's get on the same page here. Raise your hands. Who is for spring break the week before Easter? Yeah. Okay. Now who is for the week after Easter? Okay. Like, it's a wild mess.
It is a wild mess. As it relates to Easter, did you know Easter is this coming week, by the way?
I sure did.
Okay. Because that snuck up on me.
Yeah, it was a quick one this year, it feels.
Yeah.
Or was it a long one this year?
Well, no. What do you mean a long one?
I mean,
It's earlier than normal. It's the first week.
It's earlier than normal. That's what I thought. That's what I thought.
Because often it's like mid-April, third week of April, something like that. I didn't even know how they figured it out. But anyways, Easter ham. Are you into ham on Easter?
Love me some ham any way, anywhere, anyhow.
Okay. Ham, I don't love it as much as you do, but I do look forward to it on the Easter meal as the centerpiece. But it's the one centerpiece of any holiday where you can buy a pre-cooked version and just heat it up, and it's better than if you ever tried to do it on your own.
You don't want to do that on your own. Question for you. Do you ever get the non-honey-baked version?
I've been in a bind, and I do get the non-honey baked. I forget where I got it from last year, but it was very, very good also.
Better than the honey-baked?
Not better. The honey baked is the pinnacle, but I've had like equivalent versions, but nothing better.
It's funny that honey-baked ham, I feel, is such a win. It's indisputable champion. It's like I would be hard-pressed, and dear listener, if you are one of these people, call in and share why. I'd be hard-pressed, I think, to find a person who didn't prefer honey-baked ham over regular ham. You can like ham, but like, oh no, not the honey-baked stuff.
Okay, this feels like an opportunity then, because they've dominated the market for so long. You would think that there would be a boutique brand that does it better and for twice the price or something like that. Nobody has, but it feels ripe for disruption. Because Nike dominated the running shoe market forever, and then Hoka or On comes along and they're like, let's just focus. They're doing too much. Let's just focus on running alone. And I feel like somebody could do that with ham.
What if we did, do you buy your honey baked ham from Honey Baked Ham TM, from the little honey baked ham storefronts?
When I have, yes. When I have bought honey, or when I have opportunity to, that's where I buy it from.
Well, here's the thing. I feel that honey in the baked ham part has dominated the marketplace for too long. I feel we could introduce a vanilla baked ham or a chipotle baked ham, or you don't want to go too crazy because you want to, but just why just honey? Honey is just sweet. It's a great sweetener. Love honey. But I feel we could do other sweeteners plus ham.
stevia baked ham,
Ooh, yum. Now you got me.
agave baked ham.
How,
I actually saw a recipe. I've never tried it, but it was like you mix Dr. Pepper into the, because like if you, not with honey baked, but if you buy a different type of ham, they give you this little pouch of powder that becomes the glaze, and you mix that with water. Maybe you cook it a little bit so it disintegrates, and then you put that on when you're heating the ham, and it glazes. And I think somebody was like, instead of water, use Dr. Pepper, so it'd be a Dr. Pepper baked ham.
I could see that. It's funny. I remember the first time, uh, or around the first time I ever heard about using beer in anything, like a beer battered thing or a beer basted thing. And I was like, what in tarnation? How, what? Yeah. And it's good.
And it is
Who
good.
knew?
The other thing that is essential is Hawaiian rolls. They've kind of got a lock on Easter. Like if you're going to make a honey baked ham sandwich, the Hawaiian roll with a little bit of Dijon mustard is kind of the perfect vehicle.
Did you ever hear the story about Rob Kardashian, the brother of the famed Kardashian family sisters, and his Hawaiian roll story?
No,
He got super fat. I think
remember.
yeah, he got super fat. And apparently he was eating a whole tray of Hawaiian rolls like regularly. I think that would be like his snack. He'd get like one of those. For those who don't know, the Hawaiian rolls, at least here in the United States, come on like a flat kind of tray thing, cardboard tray. And there's what? There's probably
there's 20.
20. So yeah, it's like 5 4 or whatever it is. In any case, he was eating a tray of those and they were like, "What are you doing?" And he was like, "What?" He thought they were non-caloric. He thought it was a non-caloric food.
They are unbelievably caloric and terribly sweet. Like they aren't even really bread.
Yeah. I could see sort of they're kind of almost akin to the marshmallow,
Yeah.
I feel. And I feel like a marshmallow is probably one of those that's like sneaky light caloric. Like you could probably stuff your guts with marshmallows and be okay, right? I don't know if that's true, but he probably thought it was like one of those things.
Marshmallow baked ham.
Yeah. Oh, literally. There we go. That's it. Marshmallow baked ham. We got to trademark this quick. Okay.
I
Goodbye.
don't know how we implement the marshmallow on the baking process, but this makes a ton of sense.
Marshmallow, I will say, is so sneaky good when you encounter it. Like, obviously, the s'more, even though the s'more is messy and a pain to eat, and you get handed a s'more and you're like, oh no, my life is now basically over because I have to eat it because it's really delicious, but there's no way to eat this without making a giant mess all over myself. But how good is that toasted marshmallow in the s'more?
Well, that's the thing is there's only two other dishes in life that have a charred marshmallow on it, and it is the star of the dish in both of those. The s'more and then that Thanksgiving casserole, sweet potato casserole thing with the
Yep.
marshmallows on the top. Nobody else brulees marshmallows on the planet other than those two dishes. So we can do a third dish, which is,
On the
and
ham.
it's a sweetener replacement for honey. Marshmallows are equally as sweet as honey.
Okay, signing off. We're going to start getting this business plan going. Goodbye, podcast business forever. It's the marshmallow ham from here on out.
And I'm going to do some test recipes on Sunday. I will report back.
Great. Cannot wait to hear. Well, again, it is March 30th. Nobrot 82. The theme of today's show, David Lee Scales, is busted. Busted. But before we get into the busted, a couple headlines. Did you read or see that Air Canada's CEO, did you see both the hot water he got in and he stepped down today because of that hot water? So
Nope. I would imagine it's related to the crash.
you related to the crash, but so yeah, airplane in LaGuardia, I can't remember, late last week, whatever. Air Canada flight collided with a fire truck. Both pilots dead. I think a bunch of people injured. It was a real awful thing that happened, tragedy. And CEO stepped down. Why do you think he stepped down?
I have
Was he
no clue.
negligent? Was he
Well,
in the Epstein files? Was he something?
so it's a tough question because from that news story alone, it had nothing to do with him. It was the air traffic controller's fault. So I don't think it's related to the story, surprisingly. I don't think it's an Epstein situation. I think I don't know what the answer is. I think it's going to be so minor compared to all the other infractions we see nowadays that it'll be shocking.
You hit the nail on the head. Okay, so in the immediate aftermath, he took to the airwaves to, you know, offer condolences, and said he opened with like bonjour or something, and he closed with merci, but that was the only French he spoke. Boom, fired, done, or stepped down.
Oh my gosh.
The uproar. Canada, for those who don't know, is officially bilingual, and they take their bilingualism seriously, and so seriously that the backlash from him not speaking French, and this dude doesn't speak French. He's not a French speaker. So he came out and said afterwards, or his PR team or whatever, and said, I'm sorry. Like, I wanted to get something on air quickly. I didn't have time to, prep whatever to say in French. I am so sorry that I did that. And nope, was not enough. Resigned amid the scandal. And Air France said they are going to prioritize a bilingual speaker as the next CEO.
So this is the dumbest thing I've heard in a long time, and I've heard a lot of dumb things in recent weeks. This goes back to 5 years ago, 6 years ago, where cancel culture was at its peak, and people would get, lose their career over tweeting something haphazardly or just kind of whatever without thought. And the reason this is problematic is it's not in the best interest of the Air Canada nor the country itself. Like, if he is the most qualified person for the job, which I'm just presuming he is because he has the job and they didn't fire him for not being competent, then let him do his job. You know what I mean? Firing the most competent person, qualified person for the job is at a detriment to the shareholders in that company. And this is a nothing burger. This is like, there's no bad intent. There's no reflection of his inner character. There's nothing wrong. They knew he was not bilingual when he got the job, presumably. So that was not an issue either. The fact that they're making it an issue, or it's a reflection of they were looking to fire him for something and this is now the cause. But otherwise, it's a disaster.
I mean, harkening back to cancel culture, like when there's that little grace that you can offer fellow man, I feel like it's all going to come back on your head at some point. There's nobody, if you are making a society where in the, even if you're a big, passionate Francophile, which there are in France, of course, it's, a major defining character, I think, of particularly in Quebec, which is, I think I read that 20% of Canada is native French speaker. But in any case, like, national pride, da, 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 da. But come on now, come on. And especially after he apologized. If he came out and said, screw French speakers, I hate your language and I hate you, then I would understand why he had to resign. But being apologetic, just saying, look, I couldn't express my heart properly in French, should be forgivable.
Absolutely absurd.
Wow.
And wow. I had no thoughts on Air Canada prior to last week. And now I don't want to fly Air Canada. Nothing to do related to the crash. It's just because this is bad policy.
He wasn't fired. He resigned. So I don't know if Air Canada's board was like, hey, please stay. And he was like, nope, I'm a distraction at this point. So I didn't read that part of the story. But if they forced him out, but it didn't seem like he was forced. It seemed like he took the bullet for the team.
I'm going to broaden my ire then and direct it towards all of Canada as a whole. Yeah. I've never thought negatively about Canada once in my life, nor Canadians. In fact, the opposite. I hold them in high regard. And now they've got one little mark against them based on them pressuring him to step down.
Do better, Canada. Do better, Quebecois. I will give the Quebecois and all of them, though, I personally erase that mark because I love poutine so much. So poutine covers a multitude of sins.
The other thing that they've got going for them is I hear Montreal is like the best city that you could possibly visit, a short flight from the U.S.
I've heard this and I've dreamed of going to Montreal my whole entire life, and I don't know why I haven't been. I think it's like a 30-minute flight or something from New York. It's like right there.
Yeah, and it's like going to Europe.
Yeah, French food, poutine. Yeah.
Architecture.
Maybe you and I do a podcast tour, a Noble Rot tour that goes to Montreal.
And
Montreal listeners, reach out.
reviews poutine.
Yeah, love poutine.
Poutine is a better version of nachos.
By far, by far. Like nachos, inevitably, nachos are a real bummer because there's no right amount of nacho to eat. If you eat one nacho, you're going to want more nachos. You're either leaving the nacho bowl too hungry or too full.
It's also a problem where the buildup, there becomes a nucleus of the best ingredients and then all the exterior that doesn't have the right proportion. And it's very, because of the way the cheese is in nachos, it's hard to kind of unstick it or get from the nucleus onto the dry chip. Whereas poutine, much more malleable. You could just break off a little French fry, dip it in the sauce, whatever. It's just better as an entire dish.
All there.
Yeah.
Another headline here. Arnold Schwarzenegger's illegitimate son, Joseph Baena, won his first bodybuilding contest. A couple points here. Did you follow along with the Joseph Baena story?
Only when it was revealed that he had a son with the housekeeper, but I didn't follow it beyond that.
So yeah, I didn't much either. But I gotta say, Joseph Baena, if you look him up, is a striking looking man. Looks a lot like Arnie himself. But the little bits of this story that I see from time to time that drip into my life, Joseph Baena seems like a real stand-up dude. For one, he never was angry at Arnie. Like doesn't seem to be. I mean, there's pictures of him training that I saw with Arnold Schwarzenegger right there, right? Wow. So it's that. It's not taking the last name Schwarzenegger, sticking with Baena to both honor his mom, I think is when I originally read it, but also not to be nepoed out, right? Like not to be, of course, if he's Joseph Schwarzenegger, everybody's, more doors are going to open. And then now third, how like your dad was king bodybuilder forever. I mean, is the face ostensibly for those who, are unawares of bodybuilding itself. To go into that field and to do good yourself and looked at the pictures, struck a striking pose, a good-looking figure.
Yeah, I mean, there is almost no way to be a Nepo baby in that arena. You either win on your own merits or you don't. And you don't get your merits without all of the hard work required. Like, that is the ultimate meritocracy.
Yep. Do you ever have thoughts on bodybuilding in general?
Rarely, but I'm forced to think about it once every 5 years when a documentary comes out or something. And it seems like the ultimate waste of time.
It's so strange to me to treat, of all the things to do with the human body, to train the human body for, right? To run fast, to jump high, to punch hard, to, all of this. To do all of the exercise or more of the exercise, do only exercise, like triple the exercise for no point other than physical beauty, like to sculpt those muscles, not to do anything, but to look good is bizarre to me.
Very bizarre. Obviously, there's versions of physicality and getting fit and strong that have a lot of real world application. With bodybuilding, it actually goes beyond applicability and becomes a detriment. Like they're so big, they can't fit into a vehicle or they can't fit into clothing. They have to go sideways through a doorway, stuff like that. And it's like, what do you use that strength for? It's strictly for the vanity of winning the event. It's all circled around the event. And it's gotten to the point of almost being unattractive because it's so grotesque.
Well, and I don't even know that they're necessarily strong, right? They have big muscles, but I don't know that those muscles are good for anything other than flexing and looking, right? I don't know, and I'm no bodybuilding expert, and as you can tell, if you're watching along on the YouTube, I'm no bodybuilder. But it just seems like, I don't know, like you look at really like strongman contests, right? They're the guys Finnish dudes who lift 20,000 pounds. None of them are cut. They're all look kind of chunksters. So I feel that getting the muscles to look that way is not making them strong.
Yeah, they're definitely stronger than, some random person, but not stronger than the strongman competition, guys.
Yeah.
Also a funny competition that we should analyze at some point. And the other problem that I have with it is, or my concern for those athletes is, what do you do the moment you stop focusing on striation and, cutting into this little sculpture? The moment it all starts to atrophy or dissipate or whatever, and you end up just looking big and not fit at that point.
I mean, you look at dudes like Arnie today, right? Arnold Schwarzenegger today, and he looks good, right? I think he looks
Yeah.
fine. But yeah, like doing that and knowing this is all ephemeral, this is all going to go away. You can never keep that forever because old dudes who do via, whatever drugs or whatever their GLP ones, however they do it, looks weird. Like muscles are not supposed to be big and old.
No. I think Arnie's actually navigated it more gracefully than almost
Yeah.
anybody I could think of. And he maintained his commitment for longer than most people. Like I could see a lot of these guys, because again, if you're committed to the lifestyle, it's a lifelong commitment. Otherwise, you see the downside. So I see sometimes these people do crash out when they're 30 or 32 or something like that. And then it's like, well, you're just going to have a giant physique for the rest of your life without the same muscle tone that made it attractive or, respectable in the first place.
Ain't getting into bodybuilding anytime soon.
Hold on, before we move on, we got to talk about the housekeeper situation. I don't
Yes.
remember ever seeing the housekeeper. Was she like particularly attractive?
I don't recall seeing her either.
Okay.
Yeah, I can't remember. I feel that there was no, like Maria Shriver, obviously married to Arnold Schwarzenegger at the time, and they divorced. Do this, I think, but I don't think there was ever bad blood between. I think like Arnie definitely supported Baena. I think right. It wasn't like a secret to him.
I don't know.
Yeah, I don't really recall either.
I'd
But
be
it doesn't feel
curious
like
to
he
know.
was. Doesn't feel like Arnie was like a deadbeat. It feels like he had been there for maybe not personally very much, but financially for the kid.
Well, so that's great. But the other thought that I have is just about like an animalistic association with the bodybuilding. I don't know, all the testosterone that's pulsing through your veins. Because if she's a smoking hot maid and they brought her into the house, first of all, Maria Shriver, red flag, don't hire the smoking hot maid or nanny for that matter. But if she's just like a random Joe Schmo maid, but Arnie's just got so much testosterone pulsing through his veins that he cannot help himself, that's also worth studying.
I'm gonna look at this real quick.
Because Arnold, like, look, if Arnold wants to have an affair, at that time, he was at the height of his powers, even still today, he can probably have an affair with a myriad of women who would be willing participants.
Her name
Focusing
is.
in on the maid is odd.
Her name is. Is she dead? Her name is Mildred Patricia.
Not an attractive
And-
name, I'll tell you that.
Let's see. No, she's not. I mean, she is not unattractive, but she looks exactly like a housekeeper.
Wow. See, Arnie just couldn't help himself.
Either that, but I think they might have loved each other somehow. If
Well,
I recall.
that's sweet. I don't know where you got that story, but that's the sweetest part I've heard so far.
Yeah, no, I mean, I think it was like it was like an affair of the heart that just blossomed. I don't, if I recall, maybe I'm spitting nonsense. We're going to have to come back. There's too many questions. I'm going to have to come back. Our next Noble Rot 83 is going to be entirely Arnold Schwarzenegger and his relationship with Patricia Mildred Baena themed.
I'm looking her up right now. I'm going to go out on a limb and just say she's particularly unattractive.
I mean,
Like
she's,
if this woman was cleaning my house, there would be zero threat at all
yes.
of an affair.
That's why I think that there was some, because I think the affair I don't think it was like a one-time thing. I think it went on and on. I feel.
Amazing.
Yeah.
This story is now way more interesting to me.
Yeah, come back, dear listener, come back next week for the full, actually spend the week researching Joseph Baena, Arnold Schwarzenegger, and his mama.
20 years after the news broke.
Yep, we're gonna really dig deep.
Because this is a common, obviously, stereotype, but like Ethan Hawke, had an affair on Uma Thurman with their nanny. But I think he and the nanny are still married to this day.
Jude Law, I think, was Nanny Town on when he was with Sienna Miller, if I
Okay.
recall. Yeah,
Yeah.
I mean,
So
obviously it's common.
it's a common thing. But I don't have so many qualms about it when it's like they're still with the person 20
Yeah,
years later and they have
you
two
just fell
kids.
in
It's
love.
like, oh, okay, so they found love. Maybe he was in love with Sienna Miller. Maybe he found love and moved on to a different love, but it's at least love. It's not
Yeah,
just acting out of impulse and then ruining a marriage or a kid's upbringing or something like that. So the fact that Arnie exists somewhere in the middle is kind of interesting to me.
I mean, and again, the fact that Joseph Baena seems to have they seem to have a great relationship. I mean, from pictures at least, from pictures of Arnold showing him how to lift weights, seems like they're buddies. So I feel if Arnold was either bad to the mother or neglectful to the son, that relationship wouldn't be there.
I really feel like I should be vilifying Arnold for his bad behavior, but the detail about an affair of the heart where the proximity to the housekeeper obviously is constant, so there's that. And despite her, again, hate to give her a hard time, but despite her not being particularly attractive, heart wants what the heart wants.
That's what I'm saying. That's what I think
Wow.
this story is. But yeah, come back next week for me to punch holes in that. Our last headline, which leads us into the day's theme over the weekend. One of the people, the most famous person, I will say, who does the thing that David Lee does but cannot talk about. One Tiger Woods. Speaking of, did you know Tiger Woods was not his name? Everybody knows this, obviously. But
Elroy or Elwyn or something?
it's like Eldrick or something like that.
Eldrick, yeah.
Weird. Yeah, something weird. But in any case, Tiger Woods arrested, DUI'd for yet another SUV flip. And so, just in case people don't know, this is the fourth major car accident that Tiger Woods has been in, since, I don't know, the last decade, probably, maybe a little longer than a decade. Two of them were flipovers. Both flipovers, I think, were resulted in DUIs, driving under the influence. The other two, I think it's highly sus, right? I think there was one in LA, wasn't a flip, but a bad crash where he was taken by the police, and they said, "Oh no, it's nothing." He was cleared, but they never did any blood test or breathalyzer or anything at all. So it was, seemed like a bro deal. In any case, fourth one. He is currently dating. Do you know his current partner?
I know her last name's Trump, and I've been meaning to look up whether or not she's related to the president.
Yes, Vanessa Trump, tangentially related, I guess. Vanessa Trump is Don Trump Jr.'s ex-wife, and so she's related via ex marriage, and then also, of course, her children are, which I think she has 5 kids with Don Jr., 4 or 5. Her kids are obviously Donald Trump's grandkids, so there's that, right?
Got it.
And obviously kept the last name Trump as well. Vanessa Trump. Her daughter, Kai, is coming up as a famous golfer. But in any case, so Tiger gets busted, classic, right? DUI, his slovenly looking, like real bad mugshot. I mean, just looking bad, right? And both Tiger Woods, some people do a good mugshot. I mean, as much as I don't love to give credit often on this program, but give Donald Trump credit for his mugshot, right? He really went in with an idea and executed on that idea. Most mugshots are pretty crap. Some are good. I really like, I mean, we could do a whole show on mugshots, to be honest. I really like Jude Law's mugshot when he was busted getting a sexual favor from a prostitute. Remember that?
I remember Hugh Grant's.
Yeah, Hugh Grant. What did I say? Jude Law?
Jude Law.
I didn't mean that. Hugh Grant. How good is Hugh Grant's mugshot there?
Maybe the best one ever.
So good. It's both embarrassed and it captures exactly what he got busted for in a real perfect way.
He's got his shoulders up a little
Yeah.
bit. He's like got his head tilted to the side. But he's like, yeah, it's perfect.
A real good one. There's other good mugshots too. Most of them, of course, are bad. Tiger Woods, both of his mugshots have been, bottom 10, like really, really, really bad looking mugshots.
Well, he looks also like a photo was taken of him the morning after when he's super
Yeah.
hungover, as opposed
Yeah.
to while he's still intoxicated.
Yeah, it's bad news. But in any case, do you think that Vanessa Trump was happy?
Happy that he got another DUI.
Do you think she was supportive? Do you think that she came
Oh,
out
okay.
and was like, yeah, not happy, was supportive, like, oh, I'm here for my man, my man's, it's not his fault.
Just to clarify before I answer, they're not married, correct?
No, they're dating.
Okay, they're dating, so yes, she's supportive. If they were married, she absolutely would be pissed at him.
Dating, not supportive in the screwball. She has not made a statement yet, but according to both Page Six and TMZ, friends close, unnamed sources declare she is both, quote, pissed and, quote, gave him an ultimatum. Like, if this happens again, this is done. You got to figure yourself out. And then, moreover, more reporting today that other people are, his friends are pissed too. They want him to figure it out. They figure it out, Tiger.
Okay, I should have thought more deeply about it because the power dynamic is pretty equal in that relationship. It's not like he's dating some 24-year-old model who's like thrilled to be with Tiger Woods and that would then be forgiving. He's dating somebody who's been at a high level of profile and wealth for a long period of time, so she knows her worth. She's not going to slum it. The other thing is, she's been dealing with his alcoholism for a long time now. And this is just the most recent disaster that he's created for himself.
Okay. And just to clarify, not alcohol. It's, I think they said very clearly, blue up 0.0. It is
Oh, I didn't know
pill
that.
related. Yeah. It's all pill related.
I had no idea. I thought he was boozing it.
No, he's a pill popper. Like, probably
What?
due to surgeries or what, I don't know specifically pill, but it's drugs. It's not, and I don't think it's weed. It's drugs, not alcohol.
Okay, that makes kind of a difference for me as I'm analyzing this.
Exactly. Okay, so here we go. So we are going, again, the theme of the show is busted. Tiger Woods got busted by Vanessa. How busted would you get by Lauren? And I'm going to give you a series of things here. And
This is already making me laugh.
you are going to go 1 to 10 on how busted you are. So one is, yeah.
I'm going to interrupt real quick because I have a funny story about our interaction about this.
Yes.
The interaction between Lauren and I about the Tiger Woods story. This will be a good precursor to the busted section.
Perfect.
Even though one listener requested I don't use my wife as fodder anymore for the podcast, I'm going to charge forward. She goes, man, did you see this Tiger Woods story? And I'm like, yeah, it's wild, right? I'm like, why wouldn't you just have a permanent driver? Right?
This was the news today. Your finger was on the pulse. This was also a headline today, which was answered. But
Okay,
continue.
so
I'll tell you.
that's what I posed to her the day that this story came out. And she goes, yeah, I know. That's what I was thinking too. It's crazy. And then I go, yeah, I mean, the guy's super wealthy. And she goes, well, I don't know about anymore. I mean, he's had like so many legal troubles and everything. And I'm like, wait a second. I have to like stop. We're like having a conversation as I'm walking through the kitchen. She's in the other room. I have to like about face, walk back to the bedroom, poke my head around the corner of the door and go, wait a second. You think he can't afford a driver? And she's like, no, I mean, he probably can. I'm just saying, like, he's not as rich as he once was. And I go, yeah, well, I'm not saying he needs to buy a super yacht or like a country. Like, I'm just saying he needs a driver. They like run. Yeah, I mean, you could probably get a driver for like $80,000 a year. You don't think he has $80,000 a year? And she's like, shut up. Why are you doing this? And then I have to Google his net worth. She's already over the conversation. I'm like, honey, he's got a $1.2 billion net worth. He can afford a driver. She's like, I get it. I never said he couldn't afford a driver. She's like, I was just saying he's not in the same financial situation that he once was. I'm like, yeah, he is. Look at
But he's in like a better financial situation, I feel. Like, he's made more money since all these arrests and whatnot have happened and even going through the divorce and everything, giving half of it to whatever, the Swedish girl. Like,
yeah, Ellen.
I mean, the dude's crushing.
I know. Well, then it was like an hour later. I was like, honey, golf is like the highest paid athletes in the world. And he was like the number one out of all of them. She's like, are you still talking about Tiger Woods?
That is really, really funny. That is great. This is the perfect segue. Well, according to news, do you know why he doesn't have a personal driver or hasn't had one?
Privacy concerns or something.
Exactly, but the way it was worded was like that dude must be getting up to no good all the time, right?
Oh, that's a good
is
point.
the way it felt. Is like it was weighted that way.
Yeah, but Diddy had dozens and dozens of randos following him around in his entourage, and he was up to way worse.
Yeah, exactly.
And for the most part, they didn't turn on him. It was like other people who turned on him. So I feel like Tiger could write a check to, there's the price of the driver, and then you double it for the privacy.
Yeah, I mean, it seems like it's something that could be worked around, and he might be forced to have one now if he wants to keep Vanessa Trump. But in any case, okay, 1 to 10, busted. One, you come in, you tell her in the news, and she shrugs. 10, you're unforgiven forever. She will never speak to you. She will do everything in her legal power to make it that you never get to see your son again. All of it, like.
And the to be clear, the offense is Tiger's offense of rolling the car on drugs.
I'm gonna go give you various offenses.
Okay, gotcha.
You're going to 1 to 10 them as we go. So the first one, you flip your SUV, roll it over the family's SUV. Nobody's in the car. You're just driving alone, and you get a DUI. But you had just gotten out of the hospital, or you just had your wisdom teeth out, and so you had whatever drugs. You thought you were okay. Apparently, you weren't. You weren't out partying. It's just you made a mistake. Bad joke.
So I think this lands pretty squarely on a 5.
Okay.
But I'm going to reverse some blame here because why was I driving myself home from the dentist?
Exactly. I feel you could whittle this one down by like, hey man, I wish that I mean, you could be stubborn. I would get busted here at probably a 3. But I would get busted because you are stubborn. You are a stubborn man. I get busted for being stubborn a lot. This would be you're a stubborn man busted.
So I think I'm going to stick with,
actually.
I'm sticking with a 5 because I would try to argue that it wasn't my fault. Like the traffic incident was not my fault. Even if I was completely sober, I would have gotten into this accident. And then she'll point back at other questionable traffic maneuvers that I've made while she's been in the car. And she's like, I always told you, you're going to take it too far one day. And so it'll just be a little bit of a tension there of unresolved past, I don't know, squabbles that she can point to this and blame me for. So 5 for sure, but not so much that I'm going to get divorced over it.
No, but it'll be a couple nights in the doghouse for sure, and light tension moving forward.
I'm going to say longer than a couple of nights. Let's say 2 weeks in the doghouse for sure, but then a lifetime of being reminded about it down the road.
Okay.
Anytime there's a traffic decision to be made, she'll be like, I'm going to backseat drive you, and you better listen, because that one time you flipped a car.
Yeah, bummer. That's a bummer. It's almost worse than divorce. Okay.
We'll just take separate cars from this point on. I'll meet you there.
Same scenario. Flipped SUV, DUI, but this time you were out drinking with Kevin Miller and John Brooks. They're not in the car. They got an Uber. They were smart and got an Uber. You were like, I got this, guys. And man, you blow. Not crazy. You don't have like blood poisoning, but you blow. You weren't like towing a .8. You were like plenty above.
This is also not a 10. I'm going to say 7.5, maybe.
Okay.
Like it's the reason it wouldn't be a 10 is it's the first time we've had this conversation specifically. Because now we're not pointing the finger of blame at the driving as being the problem. We're pointing the finger of blame at the consumption. And we've never had a fight or a discussion even about my overconsumption as it relates to driving, or even my overconsumption as it relates to bad behaviors.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So would you get forced into a program? Would you be told? I mean, would it be heavily hinted, if not outright said, no more drinking for you, David Lee? You clearly have a problem. Or would it be you know, you made a horrible, horrible, horrible mistake, but this is not a reflection of your character.
It'd be that one because of the circumstance that you created, which is Kevin Miller and John Brooks and I out at a Florida Surf Film Festival overindulging. If
Yeah.
it was, 9:30 in the morning or 9 o'clock in the morning, drop the kid off at school, and on the way home from school, roll my car because I was drunk, that would then be a totally different conversation.
Okay. Okay. So a night out, bad judgment, you would get not a pass, but you would get, there would be forgiveness.
There would definitely be forgiveness again because of patterns of behavior, but the thing that bumps it up to a 7.5 is just it is a bad decision that would have potentially irreversible damage for our existence moving forward. If I had killed somebody, if I, even the $15,000 it's going to cost to get through the DUI process, the fines and all that kind of stuff is hugely problematic. Like, so there's detrimental effects long term for the family based on my bad decision, therefore 7.5.
Okay. You fall in love with and father a child by your housekeeper.
I think that's a 10.
But 10, remember, is never talks to you again and does everything in her power, goes to the court to make it so you can never see Austin again.
Well, 9.
Okay. So she leaves you and doesn't talk. Like, would she send you in 5 years? Would she send you a happy birthday text?
No.
Never
No,
again.
I don't think so. I think, I cannot imagine that I would get that birthday text. I think it would be like scorched earth, but what's best for Austin is having contact with his father. And so she wouldn't do that to Austin.
Would she bring Austin over to your studio apartment herself, or would she send Austin with family or friends over to visit you?
Definitely family or friends for the first 5 years, I would say.
Okay. And then she'd start coming.
Potentially.
Okay.
Yeah.
So 9.
I think it'd be a pretty scorched earth situation. And not because I've ever felt that wrath from her, but she had a previous relationship that ended poorly, actually in pretty similar manner that you just outlined, without a spawn to show for it. I don't think I ever told you this story. I'll tell you off air.
Okay.
And because it actually involves, you can tell me if I told you, this clue will be a giveaway. It involves a notable individual, somebody who has a fairly high profile, visible
You
profile.
have not.
Okay.
You have not.
We can have this conversation later.
Great. We could have it on Extra Fine Grit over on Patreon.
So his behavior was very bad, and she left absolute scorched earth with that one. So I'm like, wow, okay, she can burn a mother down.
Okay. Same scenario here, except it's not the housekeeper. It's not love. There's no children. It's just like Tiger on his Swedish wife. Comes out 1 and then 5 and then dozens. Like, you were just out tomcatting around.
I mean, honestly, that's equally as bad, I would think.
That's a 9 too.
I think that's a 9 too. From my perspective, I can't speak for my spouse, but from my perspective, that's a 9. That's equally as bad.
Okay. Even though, remember, the difference here is it's a bummer. It is a bummer, but you did fall in love with the housekeeper. You weren't trying to. It just got whacked.
That distinction only matters to people who are not immediately affected by it.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? Like, I don't think the victim who got perpetrated on makes that distinction.
I think over time, though, at least if I'm thinking about my case, and I don't know this, I've not had this conversation, but I would hope to imagine that, number one, like falling in love, like, man, I'm really sorry. I wish that I didn't, but I was just like lightning, right? Over time, I feel would be forgiven, not forgiven, but would, like, the 9 would drop down to an 8, maybe. The tomcatting around would stay at a 9 forever. I would be, you are despicable.
Really?
For in my house, and who knows? I should ask, but that's my my gut feeling.
Hey, honey. Hypothetical situation here.
Which would be better for me long term?
I don't want to tell you, I'm not thinking about doing this, but I did have a long discussion about if I had done this. And I would like for you to weigh in on this.
Yeah. I mean, yeah, who knows?
Well, look, moving down from a 9 to an 8 is really negligible anyways. You're still at
It's
an
true.
8. Like, yeah.
It's true. Okay. Next one here. You get in a fist fight in public because you were boozy and it's totally your fault. You like somebody, I don't know, spilled water on you or something like that. And you like completely overreact. It is 100% your fault. And you just get in a fist fight in public.
3.5.
Wow. So you can go blowing off your stack and be sort of fine.
Sort of fine, but it's
You
not
could sleep in your
inconsequential. I
own
mean,
bed that night.
yeah, I would sleep in my own bed for sure. Again, there's no pattern of behavior, and there were no conversations had prior to where she was warning me against this. This would be such a one-off anomaly that I think I would get forgiveness.
Would she talk to you later about, hey man, like what happened there? What like do you have some internal unresolved rage? I mean, is there something we need to work out here? Or would she just be like, that was weird?
100%, there'd be a lot of follow-up conversations
Okay.
about the unresolved rage, or are you going through something right now in your life that puts you, you are on edge or something like that. And then the follow-up conversations of why is violence the way that you would act out? Like this now makes me feel vulnerable or unsafe. So it's a long conversation.
So far, in both scenarios here, or in these scenarios, the 3.5 and the 5 seem a little bit worse for you than the 9.
What do you
You got to
mean?
do a lot of like talking about the issues and whatnot. Like, got to be unpacking stuff and then it lingering, right? Like the lingering, is this going to happen again? Are you going to get another wisdom tooth DUI? Are you going to lash out and fight someone at a bar? Like, oh man, that
Good news.
lingering is a bummer.
Good news. I got all the wisdom teeth out in one surgery, so there's no more wisdom teeth to pull. But yeah, I mean, it's to be cleared, way better than a 9. The 9
Yeah.
is not worse for me than the consequence
Yeah.
of the 9 is worse for me than the consequence of the 3, even though you stated that they're similar. This is not, I agree with you. It's a bummer, but it's the
Yeah.
consequence of your own action. You know
You
what I mean?
deserve the
Like,
bummer. Yep. There is a punishment.
if the consequence is deeper communication and understanding and getting to know and trying to, because ultimately what those conversations are doing is trying to correct something in me that was problematic for me.
Yeah.
It was problematic for me. I was acting out. And so we're trying to correct those things. So it's not just punitive, making me feel crappy, because of my bad decision. There's an end goal.
Good job, Lauren. Okay, you embezzle a bunch of money. You like embezzle a lot, and it's not enough to do a long jail term. But there's you got to go do, let's say you do 3 months, and then you got a lot of community service.
Do I get to keep the money?
I mean, you bought her some nice stuff along the way, which was unexpected. But no, all the money goes into, you lose all that money, and then you're out another, like you're in some debt now to pay for your legal bills. Not
Okay,
a ton. It's not like in a hole that you're never going to get out of. But it's like you're going to have to tighten the belt when you get out. You got all your community service that you're doing, and then probably going to have to get another job, and it's going to be belt tightening.
That's makes it, that last little add-on makes this a lot worse, because
Like,
I think the way that I'm measuring a lot of it is what is we have a little tight pod here, and we're happy. This family unit is happy. We have a good life. We have a good existence. So which of these bad behaviors is going to penetrate that and disrupt the happiness? And
Yeah.
so if I simply embezzled money and enriched our life from it, net positive. If she finds out that it was ill-gotten gains, I think that's a knock against me. That takes it to about a 1 or a 2.
Okay.
Now if I'm going to do jail time, 3 months of jail time, not the worst in the world, but I'm going to be away from the family, which disrupts the happy home. That bumps it up to a 3 or a 4. And now if we're going to be carrying debt and consequence for an extended period of time, we're up to the 6 range.
Okay. So I mean that's very all of that is very reasonable. That's would it make a difference at the first one? So it's a 1 if you're embezzling. What if you were like white hat embezzling? What if you were embezzling from a bad company?
I think that makes it a 1. If it's embezzling, justified embezzling, I
Yeah.
think it would make it a 1 where she's like, I don't feel great about this, but I can justify it. And the benefits, personal benefits, are positive. So, I'm going to look the other way. There's another type of that's not necessarily white hat, but it's a victimless crime, let's say, like
Yeah.
in office space,
Yeah.
where they're
Taking the
round
penny or the half pennies or whatever it was off the
from
ledger.
from a corporation that has too
Yeah.
much bloat, anyways. I think that would be a little bit more like a 2 because there's potential consequence. There's potential, like, if you do get caught, there's this threat that lays over our head that is uncomfortable to live with. And then I think the other thing to factor in here is if my spouse can be dishonest in these ways, what other ways can they be dishonest? And so that would create a certain tension in the relationship that would be a little unsettling.
But I like that you can get away with embezzlement as long as you do it right. For again, 1 is kind of a shrug, right? I mean, yeah, there's some tangential stuff, but that's pretty good. Something
I'm
you should think about.
I'm just guessing. We've never had a conversation about embezzlement before, so maybe she would feel more strongly than I'm predicting.
Yeah.
But but I think that we all live in an era where, like, we pay taxes that we feel like are getting misused. We pay insurance that we're absolutely getting ripped off on because we try to use it.
Absolutely.
Yeah, like, so I think our mindset is in a way that there is hard costs or hard expenses that exist that we know the money is the mortgage and that gives us a house to live in. There's groceries. And then, like, the vast majority of the expenses in our life, it's kind of like play money that doesn't make any sense and it's not justifiable. And so as it relates to income, you can put the income in that category where it's kind of like, you know what? I'm just trying to catch up from the other things I got
Yeah.
ripped off on. There's no victim here. So
Yep.
now, if it was embezzling from
A charity.
or an old, like, the one that was
Yeah.
on top of my mind is I have a buddy who just identified caregivers are ripping off an older family member. And so they're going through the legal recourse of trying to unwind that. But it's like, apparently, there's an entire industry that exists for ripping off and scamming old people.
That's real bad. So what would that be? Would that be a 4? 6?
Yeah, it might be beyond a 5. I'd say 5, 6 probably.
Yeah. Even if there was no jail time or legal ramifications,
Yeah, I think that would be much more problematic
I
because
think I would
it's
way
a
buzz for
real
that too.
it's a revealing of your own character.
Yeah. Ooh, man.
And I think the other thing that this reminds me about is that we all have a price. like like I'm 3-month jail time. Okay, how much did I embezzle?
Oh, exactly. I mean, easy. If I'm keeping it, I'd be like, honey, gotta go to work. I'm
Yeah,
gonna be gone for 3 months, but trust me, it'll be worth it.
so $1 million. If you walked with $1 million and you have to do 3 months jail time, probably worth it. If it's $300 million, maybe I'm willing to do 2 years jail time. Like
Yeah.
that. The fact that we're even running a calculus where there is a price is kind of interesting.
Absolutely. Especially in the victimless, like, or only, I mean, in the victimless one, right? I don't think there's no way I could rip off, or I would hope that there's no way I could rip off an old person. But I guess you can always find a way. You could say, but this old person was a jerk. They deserve it.
If you had built a business that was systematically ripping off old people, like not just one, but like that
Yeah.
was the blueprint, that was the concept, and you're going out there and you're executing on bilking vulnerable old people with dementia, let's say.
Yeah. Yeah.
I think that's unforgivable. That might be the
Yeah.
10.
Yeah. It's true. I think I'd get 10 on that one. It'd be like, who are you?
Exactly. Who are you?
Okay. Last one here, 1 to 10. You get an amazing job. It is amazing. You can fill in the blanks with what that job is, but it's not very many hours. It is, you get tons of time at home and you're getting paid quadruple, quintuple, like what you even thought you were going to be making. But job gets pulled because some unsavory things came to light that you said on a podcast. Something from, doesn't matter, something from Noble Rot, something from The Grit, something from Surf Splendor, something. Like, they said, we just can't have this. We cannot. I'm sorry. We were rescinding the offer. How busted.
How long did I have that job?
You didn't even have it yet. You had just gotten it, and you're about ready to start, right? You guys are, so you've gone through the celebration about it. I can't believe I got it. I'm so proud of you, honey. You go through enough of that where it's just the elation, and then so we'll say 48 hours later, you get pulled into the office and told, sorry.
This one really tests the mettle of your relationship
Yeah,
because, you know, true love would not even be running a calculus. Like
Yeah.
true love would just be like, who cares? Easy come, easy go. You're the person I love. Like, obviously, if you said that back in the day, you know, it's not like, who knows? Maybe it was flippant. Maybe it wasn't that well thought out. Maybe it doesn't reflect your actual heart's beliefs.
Yeah.
You just got caught up in the cancel culture aspect of it. So this is not a reflection of you. This is a reflection of, you know, that company making a decision. So who cares? Water off a duck's back. But the flip side or the opposite of that would be somebody who's superficial, who just wants the paycheck, and now they're going to divorce you because they thought they had the golden ticket.
I don't think this would lead to divorce in my house, but it would lead to a long term, like, I knew it. It would be like I kind of had a like instinct that I should have never like gotten with you. And this proves it, but now I'm stuck with you. So it would be a real bummer.
This would be like, I always saw the potential in you, but it's
Yeah.
still potential.
Yeah. And this one though for me would be I saw the potential in you, and I clearly missaw something. Like you're a funny guy. You're a funny guy, and funny guy doesn't pay the bills, but that's I guess what you are.
Yeah, and I've accepted that presumably, but I thought there was an opportunity to have both things right here.
Yeah. But I guess
Yeah,
not.
I don't know where I'm going to rank this one. I think it's going to be maybe around a 3
Okay. Yeah.
because I feel like we would get caught up in the life is going to get way better
Yeah.
and caught up in that fantasy and be celebrating that. And so the letdown does come with a consequence. But ultimately, I think it's a pretty quick one to get over. A lot fewer conversations, a lot fewer, like with the first one, like 20 years later, still holding it against you kind of a thing. I don't think that would be this. I think this would be like, we got this incredible opportunity that maybe wasn't even justified in the first place. And unfortunately, it didn't transpire. But also, like, it came out of nowhere. Wasn't expecting that you to ever get that offer in the first place.
Well, this one is closest to, except for thankfully, I don't think at least me, as I'm never going to get offered a crazy lucrative job that my podcasting career is going to come foil in the end. Maybe I will. Who knows?
Yeah.
But this is a reliably like true scenario here.
This is no, I think years wouldn't be a job in terms of like a long-term ongoing job, but it could be something related to an intellectual property,
Yeah.
a movie deal based on a book, and then that movie becomes huge, and then there's a series, and then there's merch associated with it or something like that, you know?
All of it goes away because I said one time that I like to kick a dog.
Which, like you said, this is actually one that could be a real scenario.
Well, okay, I feel pretty good about Bo. I feel that we workshopped this pretty well. I feel we know. I'm glad that you know. I think you have we could be wrong here. Both of us could be wrong. You could be wrong, but I feel you have, yeah, basic guidelines of how things are going to play out if some bad case scenarios happen.
I enjoyed the exercise because it made me kind of examine the pressure points in our relationship a little bit and how I can kind of invest maybe in certain ways that I've overlooked. And then also it's a reminder to keep the guardrails on because I could have done any one of these things on this list if I was more careless. You know what I mean? And so I've had guardrails up to prevent against it, to mitigate against it. And it's a good reminder of like, yeah, don't F it up.
Keep going. Keep hewing the line.
Yeah, don't F it up.
Don't F it up. That's the sub theme of today's show. Busted. In parentheses, don't F it up. Well, what did you watch this week? David Lee Scales, anything intriguing?
I did really, really something that I love. But one final thought on Tiger Woods. He doesn't have to say don't F it up to himself because there's no consequence.
I mean, that's okay, so here's the thing. I feel if Vanessa leaves him, right? I read something, I think it was in the New York Times, or I can't remember where it was, but the headline was, is this enough to finally make golf quit Tiger? Where I guess I didn't read the story, but what I gathered from the headline is that that golf has been drafting off Tiger Woods for so long, right? He's still the draw. He's the Kelly Slater of golf. And, they need to break up at some point. You can't just always be looking at this aging thing or aged thing or, nostalgic thing. But so I wonder if in this case, you're exactly right. But I don't know, have any kind of self-worth and stuff? Like, can you just keep on going and doing this messing up and looking in the mirror? I mean, those pictures of him I read somewhere that he is deeply ashamed, which maybe is why he keeps popping pills or whatever he's doing.
That could be part of the cycle, but ultimately he likes blondes. He likes pretty blondes. Yeah. He can find another pretty, this girl, the previous one left him. This one will leave him potentially. He could find another one. He keeps getting advertising dollars. I guess unless he lost his income, but at $1.2 billion, he doesn't need any more Nike money.
Doesn't need to do anything.
No, he doesn't. Exactly. So, and he's still playing professional golf when he wants to. Like, I maybe if his game fell apart and he's so close.
His game hasn't it?
I think only due to age. I don't think it's his. Yeah, I think it's age and injury, but I think it's directly on the same chart that other aging golfers' game falls apart. I don't think it's a reflection of like he did too many drugs last night, now he can't play tomorrow.
Yeah, he's no John Daly. John Daly does too many drugs and then plays magnificently.
Exactly. Okay, best thing. I've been waiting for this. Sentimental Value, the film, is now available for streaming on Hulu. So I finally spent a Saturday night with it. It is phenomenal.
It's worth the buzz.
So yes, absolutely worth the buzz. It exceeded my expectation for it. So for those who don't know, Sentimental Value is a Norwegian film. Yeah, I think it's a Norwegian film. So foreign film that was nominated for Best Picture at the Oscars, Best Director, Lead Actress, Supporting Actor, 2 Supporting Actress nominations. There was 2 supporting actresses from the same film that got nominated, which I've never even seen before. Got nominated for editing, and then it also won the Best International Picture. So it was an international picture that was nominated for both the Best Picture, full stop, and then also for international, and it won international. Joachim Trier is the guy's name, and you remember his name from his previous film, The Worst Person in the World, which I don't think you saw, but it was on that top 100 list from the New York Times. Yeah. And you were like, oh, I've seen people talk about this. And I'm like, yeah, I've seen it. It's good. You should see it. This is better than that, times 2. Like I thought The Worst Person in the World was very good. This was like a much more polished, much more precise, better version.
What is the setting again? It's not Nazi. What is it?
No, it's modern day. Stellan Skarsgård
Yes, that's it.
plays a. It's basically a family drama, set in Oslo. Now that I think about it, but it's he is an aging director who had won awards. He was much acclaimed at the prime of his career, but he hasn't made a movie in 10 years, and he's basically he put his girls at the center of his art. You know, they were like in his films when he was young. But it's a family drama, and they're never the girls have some animosities about him because he was gone and he was a bit of a philanderer and stuff like that, but they were never quite sure if he was using them selfishly or selflessly as an artist. So he's at the end of his career. He hasn't made the film in 10 years, and he writes a new film, and he gets funding for it, and it's about one of his daughters, and he wants her to be the lead in the film, seemingly to reconnect with her and maybe to reconcile their relationship, but she sees it as being manipulative. So in the last 10 years, she has pursued her own art, which is acting, but on stage. So she's like this really critically acclaimed, but not earning a lot of money, like stage actress. And so she sees this as an opportunity for him to exploit her. That's the way that she's interpreting it. So she turns him down. He offers the role to an A-list actress, which is Elle Fanning. And so now there's
Love
just
Elle Fanning.
me too, me too. So that sparks jealousy. And it also kind of the way that the film is shot, it rotates back and forth between stage and screen. So he and her get into some debate about something and tensions are high, and then the camera's on her face and she's responding to it, and then the camera pulls back and you realize she's on stage in one of her plays, and you realize that she's taking all the pain and trauma from her real relationship with her dad and putting it into her performance, which the film's kind of messaging is exactly what her dad had done throughout his career, with using his siblings in his, or her and her siblings in his art, which they interpreted as selfless or selfish on his part. So it's this super complex tension between artistic expression and interpersonal relationships within this family, basically.
I love it. Cannot wait to watch it. This is, yeah, I remember seeing the trailer of Stellan, a bit on Stellan, and just thinking, oh, this is must watch. So happy that it's out. Funny enough.
Yeah.
I mean, keep going.
It's crazy good. Like that, I gave you kind of a complex explanation. It is so layered and deeper. Like every facial expression, I'm gleaning like some new emotion from, like, oh shoot, this father and daughter situation is out of control. But it's also so beautifully shot in a way that the previous films weren't quite executed at. One of my favorite filmmakers because of the cinematography is Terrence Malick. And this, I think, draws inspiration from that in a lot of ways. Like it's just beautiful to watch, even if a lot of that subtext goes over your head.
Well, Norway's on the real come up. Over the weekend, wife and I started Detective Hole. Did you hear Detective Hole? It's a
No.
funny name, Detective Hole. But it's on Netflix, set in Oslo, like a detective drama. Really, really, really good. Norwegian. I think it was, I don't know, over the weekend at least, it was like the number 7 show on Netflix. So anytime a foreign language gets up there into the top 10 on Netflix, you're like, oh, this is like, it's got to be good. And it's good. So
Okay.
set in
I'll check it
Oslo. Yeah. Fun. Or not fun, but good. Okay. Any heroes and zeros this week, David Lee Scales?
I do. I've got an unlikely hero,
Hit me.
George Michael.
What did George Michael go out and do?
George Michael, the singer, not the
Wow.
not the character in can't think of that TV show now. Michael Cera plays George Michael in that TV show, Arrested Development.
Arrested Development, yeah.
So George Michael, after he died in 2016 on Christmas Day, if you recall, stories about his philanthropy began to emerge. Have you seen any of this?
No.
Kind of crazy. So Lynette Gillard appeared on Deal or No Deal back in the day, and when they're interviewing her before she starts playing the game, she says that she's going to use her potential winnings to pay for IVF treatment in hopes of getting pregnant. She loses that game, and the next day she receives an anonymous donation paying for the entire cost of the treatment. Years later, after George Michael had died, she discovered that he was the donor. And the way that she discovered this is that it seemed to be a cause that was close to his heart because he had done this for other women who had publicly expressed their fertility struggles. And his estate was able to confirm a number of these by checking his financial records.
What a hero. Who knew? A hero from the grave.
So that's one incident. Another incident, a story came out about he was in a restaurant once with some friends and he overheard a waitress crying to another employee about how bad she was in debt. 25,000 pounds was the number reported. He literally wrote a check on the spot, put it in an envelope, handed it to a different employee. It was like, hey, after we leave, can you give it to that girl right there? Just don't let her know it's from us. And it was a check covering her debts.
What a guy.
Every Easter, a charity called Help a London Child received a phone call on Easter Day at the same time every year, 3:30 in the afternoon, with an anonymous donation of £100,000. Later revealed to be from him. He was also known to volunteer at shelters quietly with no camera. He'd always ask the other volunteers to not tell anybody. When his mother died of cancer, he performed a free private concert for the nurses and care workers, and he told them, quote, "I've played for crowds all over the world, but tonight I'm nervous because I'm performing for my personal heroes." In another story, apparently royalties from Last Christmas, the major hit song that you always hear at Christmas time, are dedicated for famine relief. And then royalties from another song called Jesus to a Child are specifically dedicated for children in crisis charities. So his
Saint
legacy,
George.
yeah, I know, St. George, and his legacy continues to make philanthropic contributions.
I'm going to go stream on Tidal, the off-brand Spotify, George Michael music as soon as we depart, David Lee Scales.
Good. You're doing good work then.
I'm going to go dump a bucket of cold water right on that warm hearth by bringing up my zero first. Then I'll
Okay.
my zero, Rob Schneider, the SNL alum, the actor, comedian, dude. Rob Schneider decided over the weekend that he tweeted, I think, or X'd, whatever you call it now, posted an X, that something about it's time for America to reintroduce the draft. It's time for our young men and women that freedom isn't free, blah, 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 blah style, right? And thinking, A, you're dumb. B, Rob Schneider never served in the military. Rob Schneider doesn't have military age children, or draft age children, either currently or on the come up. And so I'm thinking, some dude it's not going to be anything off his back, popping off saying, hey, you should go, remember how good it worked in Vietnam? Let's do that again. Is an asinine thing. And it's not like Rob Schneider knows anything. If Rob Schneider was either a veteran and was like, you know what, in the service, I realized how, we all come together and bridge differences, and this would be good for everybody. I'd say, okay, I don't agree with the draft idea, but at least you have a reason. If Rob Schneider had been drafted and went and served and was like, then I'd be like, I can't say boo about it. You did it, and there you go. But to be a dumb Saturday Night Live actor and just think that it's time for you to opine about resurrecting the draft seems asinine and idiotic.
I was almost going to defend Rob before you told me what his tweet was, because I feel like despite that guy's headlining films, and he's probably earned a lot of money from it, he always seemed like a sad sap to me. Just like he's just trying to fit in still, kind of a thing.
His daughter is a famous singer. I can't remember who his daughter is.
I didn't know that.
Yeah, his daughter is a famous singer, and I think it's King something. But his daughter hates him, so there's that.
Really? I didn't know that.
Yeah.
Okay.
King Princess.
That's her name?
That's her band name.
Oh,
Or
I wouldn't know it anyways.
performing art. Yeah, I mean, she's like big with the kids.
Okay, gotcha.
Yeah.
Singer Ellie King looks like her name.
Yeah.
And it's
Or
yeah,
that,
this story is saying why she dropped her dad's name, so it sounds
yeah. Yeah.
problematic.
Yeah. I think she thinks he's a dummy.
Also, another news story showing that he just filed for divorce against his wife of 15 years.
Oh, so poor Rob. I guess we can feel bad for him. So,
I
well,
don't
now he
feel.
gets to be zero on Noble Rot as well to add to his woes.
I was gonna say, yeah, it sounds like his extended behavior is problematic. This tweet is maybe reflective of his wrongheadedness.
Yeah. Rob Schneider. Get
Bummer.
lost. Yep.
I will never watch Male Gigolo again, Deuce Bigelow. The one time I watched it 15 years ago was enough. I will never go back. It'll never make an appearance in the best thing I saw this week.
Oh, poor Rob.
Lucky to have ever been friends with Adam Sandler.
Yep. I mean, man, my goodness.
My zero is even more offensive. There's a story about two teen girls from Florida that came out this week, Isabel Valdez and Lois Lippert, 15 and 14, who were arrested and charged as adults for allegedly planning to kill a classmate. And this is already kind of unfathomable. Like, this is the territory of teenage boys, not teenage girls,
Yeah.
traditionally. But then the reason why this has gone viral is they have footage from the back of the police car of the girls laughing. Like, they got busted, thankfully, before they slit their classmate's throat. And they got arrested. And in the car on the way to their booking, they're handcuffed and they're cracking up. They're like, oh man, this is like such a bonding moment. This is wild. I wanted to put on makeup for my mugshot thinking that we probably would get arrested, but I just didn't. I couldn't find the makeup that I wanted to use this morning. But this is such a story, like fully laughing it off.
Did they get busted on purpose because they wanted the notoriety, or what? Like, how did they get busted?
It was an anonymous tip. And so the police acted on the anonymous tip and they found weapons in their backpacks.
And they were going to slit her throat at school, or did they had a plan, like lure her to the park or something like that?
It was a boy. So the boy, she had one of the girls she was obsessed with Sandy Hook shooter Adam Lanza. And there was a classmate that she thought looked like Adam Lanza. So the plan was to lure him into the school bathroom, slit his throat, and drink his blood. And the way that she wrote this was to bring Adam Lanza back to life. She thought somehow through a blood ritual, she would revitalize Adam Lanza, the school shooter, because she was obsessed with him.
What do you do, I wonder, in a case like this vis-a-vis the prison sentence? Like, this person is clearly a menace to society, right? But obviously also a kid, but tried as an adult, but still, right? Like, so do you hope that, okay, we're going to go in and get some serious counseling for this person?
Great question. This video of them in the back of the car is going to haunt them when it comes to sentencing. I am always mortified when I do see sentencing of people who attempted a murder, because the sentencing seems so light to me. It's like their intent was to murder. And unfortunately, the punishment for the crime is way worse if they actually followed through with the murder. I feel like the consequence should be the same based on their intention to follow through with the threat, you know? But if, like, there's even instances where, you know, domestic abuse situation, husband tries his best to kill the wife. There was actually the doctor in Maui or on Oahu recently who bashed his wife's head with a rock, trying to kill her, trying to throw her off the edge of the cliff, even had drugs in a syringe in his pocket. So he was going to use that too to debilitate her. She escaped. Other hikers helped her. Now she survived, and they haven't sentenced him yet. They went through the court proceedings last week, but it's like he's not going to get life in prison.
What do you think he gets?
A decade?
Yeah, that's a bummer.
Just based on other things I've seen in the past, maybe a decade or something, you know?
Yeah.
But it's like, no, he tried. He actively tried. She's such a badass and a survivor. That's the only reason she's still alive. But because she's a badass and survivor, he's going to get
less time.
Yeah, he's going to get 60 years shaved off his off his sentence because she's a badass, basically.
Wow.
Like, it's crazy.
Well, yeah. bad girls down there in Florida.
Well, so these girls, that's the other thing to factor in is obviously they're teenagers, and the fact that they're laughing about it proves that they're not fully formed and developed to where they don't understand their own like they're going to suffer consequence. But it's also reflective of a sociopath.
Yeah.
Like,
Yeah.
do we have a way to test sociopaths? Because at that point, put them in jail for life. I don't care if they're a child or not. If we identify that they're a sociopath and we thwarted their crime, they should still do the time.
I mean, it's sociopathy, whatever it's called, being a sociopath. Is that curable?
Definitely not.
You don't think so? With counseling with Tiger Woods pills.
I'm saying definitely not as if I know. I have no idea. I would say my hunch is curable, no. Treatable, maybe.
Once a sociopath, always a sociopath.
Maybe a lesser sociopath.
Okay. Well, great. Bad girls deserve to be zeros. Hero. We'll end on a high note here. My hero is TMZ, the celebrity gossip website TMZ. TMZ told its readers to go shoot photos of congresspeople on vacation during the DHS government shutdown. And people are doing it, and they're posting them all on the front page, which to me is hilarious. So, first victim was Robert Garcia of California. Got him at the Fontainebleau in Las Vegas, gambling and drinking with buddies. And it's such good shame. Like, I mean, we live in an era of over-shaming, I feel, right? Where people get shamed and trolled and all this too much. But this is so perfect. Like, shaming and trolling Congress people on their 2-week vacation who made everyone's lives hell because they could not figure out how to open TSA or to pay the TSA workers. And obviously TSA workers are getting paid now, but still, it's the longest partial government shutdown in US history. It's a disaster. You should not get to go on vacation when that's going on.
Utilizing the TSA's environment to go on vacation. That's the other problem. You literally have to go through their line to go on your vacation.
Well, I mean, I think that Congress people, moreover, have a special line at the TSA. Right. Congress people get a special lane at TSA. And so you are taking people away, already stressed, overworked, haven't been paid for, months or whatever, how long it's been, TSA people, and then making them go work the special lane so you can go on vacation. So I love TMZ. Bravo for doing, I feel it's a great campaign of deputizing the public. Hey, if you see a congressperson out there on being vacationy, take a picture. We will slap it up on the front page.
Also, TMZ, which could be, regarded as smut, they're using their smuttiness for good in this scenario.
Exactly. Heroes TMZ. Well, good show. Anything else to share, David Lee Scales, before you go and flip your family car?
My car has a low center of gravity, and I'm an excellent driver, so this would never happen. No, that's all I got.
Okay. Well, thank you so much for listening. Head on over to Extra Fine Grit if you want some more, or to the Grit on Friday. Will bells be started on Friday?
The waiting period starts on April 1st, so presuming that they run at the beginning of the waiting period, then yes.
And this is not a surf show, of course, but if you happen to surf or like professional surfing, go sign up for Survival League. Have you signed up yet, David Lee Scales?
I made my picks today.
Doors are open for Survival Leagues. They will close at the start of the bell. So make sure to go if you care. It's a lot better than fantasy. You can actually win real things like money and surfboards. I think it's $5,000 for first place and 3-board quiver. It's a haul. So go get it. It's easy to play and fun. Otherwise, see you over there.
Do you got time?